I'm going to say Dallas, and here's why. There's the very basic version of the Cowboys are still very alive for the 1 seed. If the Cowboys beat the Cardinals and beat the Eagles, they will be the 1 seed if Green Bay slips up one time. And Green Bay's got a tough game, I think, this weekend against the Vikings. So the Cowboys are in good shape. And it's weird because you're like, but wait, the Cowboys lost to the Bucs. They did, but trust me, on the 3-way tiebreaker, the Cowboys end up the 1 seed. If it's Green Bay, the Bucs, and the Packers Green Bay, the Cowboys, and the Bucs all at 13-4, which is possible if Green Bay loses to the Vikings this weekend. So there's, first of all, the Cowboys being alive for the 1 seed. The other reason is this, Broussard, and this is, I heard you react to my answer, so I thought you and I were going to agree here, so I'm interested to hear your answer. But the question with the Cowboys is, can they beat good teams? I know they're on this 4-game winning streak, but the 4-game winning streak has come against bad football teams. 2 wins against Washington, a win against the Giants in there. And I understand they just annihilated Washington, and they look outstanding. But this absolutely could be a first weekend playoff game, this exact game. This is the exact type of team, if not the literal team, the Cowboys are going to have to beat in order to advance in the postseason. The Cardinals, on the other hand, Broussard, I feel like I have a pretty good handle on what they are, which is a good but not a Super Bowl caliber team, and I'm not going to feel differently if they win or lose this game. So for me, the Cowboys, this determines whether they're in that cowherd Super Bowl bubble or not, right? If they lose this game, I think a lot of the shine comes off this 4-game winning streak and that dominating win against Washington.
Yeah, look, I was stunned by your answer because I don't even think it's close between who this game is more important for. But I get where you're going. You're basically saying the Cowboys have a chance to get to the Super Bowl. And they can get the 1 seed if they win this game. They got to do more, but winning this game will keep them in the hunt for that. Arizona, no matter what they do, they're not getting to the Super Bowl. Okay, I get that logic. But I'm not looking at it like as a macro picture like that. I'm thinking micro, and I'm thinking psyche. You're right. I have beaten the drum consistently about Dak Prescott and the Cowboys, but mainly Dak Prescott, proving he can beat winning teams. We know his record is that he struggled historically against teams with winning records. So this would be a great win for that. I get you there. But if Dallas loses this game, they can still look back and say, we won 4 straight. We bludgeoned a division rival a week ago. It would be more of a wake-up call for the Cowboys versus a disaster. If Arizona loses, it's a disaster. And I get it. I don't think they can get to the Super Bowl either. But if they lose this game, Nick, it's a disaster. And it continues the narrative that they fizzle late in seasons. Cliff Kingsbury and now Kyler Murray, they fizzle down the stretch. And now, whereas this year, getting to the playoffs was the main thing, and you do that, even if you get beaten the first or second round, you get there, and now next year you're thinking Super Bowl. If they lose this game and go out meekly in the first game of the playoffs, now I don't know that they go into next season thinking Super Bowl. I think they go in thinking we're going to play well throughout the season. We're not going to fizzle down the stretch. And even if they start 7-0 next year, in their mind will still be what will we do over the second half of the season. So I think they need this win. I think if they get it, they can go in the playoffs with some confidence. If they lose it, Nick, that'll be 4 straight losses, 6 of 9. And even if they beat, a non-playoff Seahawks team at the end of the season, last regular season game, that's not going to be enough, Wildes, to send them into the playoffs feeling good about themselves.
No, I 100% agree with you. I think belief for the Cardinals internally is the most important hurdle they need to get over. Look, if you lose to the Rams, it's the Rams. They were always talking Super Bowl. Then they went to Detroit and lost to the Lions. And I think they were like, what's going on here? Then they lost to the Colts. If they lose to the Cowboys, Nick, I think that in the building, the Cardinals will just lose all faith, and then they go to Seattle, and guess what? Russell Wilson's like, you know what? for my swan song here before I hightail it out to go hang out with either Joe Judge or Sean Payton, I'm gonna beat the Cardinals too. I think that we've seen the Cowboys talk about the Super Bowl from before the season started. Jerry Jones like, yeah, we can make the Super Bowl. Dak talked about. Micah Parsons like, yeah, we're trying to make it to the Super Bowl. If the Cardinals lose this game and then have a 4-game losing streak going into Seattle, I think their season is shot, and your buddy Cliff Kingsbury has to be a little bit nervous.
Well, so you guys both mentioned Kingsbury. Let me tell America the numbers on it because they're jarring. From Texas Tech and Arizona, he's coached 9 years. Over the first 7 games of those seasons, he's 42, 20, and 1. So that's a winning percentage of better than 67%. 42, 20, and 1 for the first 7 games of a year. The rest of the seasons, he's 16 and 43. That is an impossibly bad trend over an entire decade. It is every year starts off great, or even the years he started off okay, and then ends terribly. Everybody at this point knows this about Kingsbury. I'm going to be proven correct on Kingsbury. It's just a matter of time. That, to me, though, is less interesting and less concerning for the Cardinals than this part of it. The Kyler Murray question of, remember the narrative on Kyler, and it wasn't a narrative, it was just measurements coming into the NFL Wildes? He's going to be the shortest quarterback ever, or since Doug Flutie. The smallest guy ever to be a full-time starter in this league. And you guys weren't with me on the show yet, but that was the entirety of my concern and my analysis going into it. When I said I know how dominant this guy was in college. I know how great he was in high school. I know what the resume looks like. But whenever you are the littlest ever in anything, I'm going to bet against you. I'm just going to go with history. And I don't think it's coincidental that Kyler Murray, in all 3 of his NFL seasons, has worn down and gotten beaten down by the end of the year. And that, to me, Broussard, is a huge concern, a much bigger concern than the Kingsbury thing. Because you can get a new coach. Kyler was your number 1 pick when he's been healthy, and early in years, he looks unbelievable. And I know we always say, well, you can't account for injury. But can you? When you're the smallest guy ever to play this position, and you by game 13, 14, 15, the hits have seemed to pile up, and you seem to be a different guy. That, to me, is massively concerning for the Cardinals long term, as they're going to decide this offseason, and I imagine they'll give it to him, to give him the massive contract similar to what Josh Allen got last offseason.
No, you're right. It absolutely is a concern. I do think they'll pay him. I think they have to pay him. But last year you had the shoulder injury, and he played through it, but clearly wasn't the same guy, and they go 2-7 down the stretch. This year you got the ankle. He missed 3 games. Now he's back. And his height, Nick, hasn't been a problem with him like seeing over linemen or, throwing the football because he gets out and moves. But if he begins to break down physically, and he's no longer moving, right? He's no longer moving the way he has. Now he has to stay more in the pocket and be more of a quote-unquote traditional passer. That's where the lack of size could come into play as well. So he's got the injuries. That's a huge concern. And then it could even affect his play if this continues. So I'm with you there. But like you said, they got to pay him. And Kyler needs to be smart. Go get paid. Get your money now. Okay? You led them to the playoffs. It'll be the first time in 5 or 6 years. Get your money now. Don't wait. Because if it goes badly, then they might hold out on you.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from First Things First, or go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.